motor controllers inside it, which is with your wiring and your controls, as opposed to anything that can actually happen to it.
Or creating drive systems that will put too much load on the drill. Right? So I've seen drive systems with chain drives before now on a big wheels. Gear ratios are very stiff. The chains are bar taut. Puts huge side loads on the drill. Very bad for the drill. Puts huge motor loads on the motors, and so now the controller, the speed controllers in the control box are far harder than they were designed for.
They'll say no.
Okay, in those circumstances, you may burn out a motor controller.
Are we allowed to have a UFC cage match between two mascots?
That becomes an issue of designing your drivetrain to be able to drive it adequately without
Are we allowed to have a fight? And are we allowed to sell tickets?
Battery feels like it's flaming.
I'll find a second one somewhere.
Discharged in moments.
Exactly, there you go.
It doesn't last. It's only barely down 2 minutes. If that, then it's likely you're drawing too much current.
Can we deploy one?
Okay, thanks for the advice. Appreciate that. Okay.
Anybody else have any questions?
Right here.
We have to get a... Hi. Are we allowed to bring more than one mascot? And if so, can we get into a fight with each other?
You are allowed to bring more than one mascot, and after the last incident with Miller, no, you cannot fight.
But it's our own mascots fighting each other.
Ed, because I just found the pictures. Third bear.
Lockview, I'll forward them to you. They're pretty good.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That was it.
Any other questions?
Here.
Pictures of that.
I don't remember the pictures of that.
Somebody's got them. It's going to be great.
Ed has them. I'll put them on the website.
Sure to sign out.
Auburn has a question. Sure.
Oh, yeah, I will.
You said that you're allowed to have the projectiles, and if they're thrown into someone else's bin, the contents doesn't count for points.
That's not quite what I said. What I said was that if you bring a projectile...
Hey, whoa, shut up.
Leaving conference.
It's not one of the terminologies. And you thought that in somebody else's...
Leaving conference. That's all I can.
Okay. Still on this question. If you bring a projectile, it's not one of the tournament objects.
Hey.
Leaving conference.
And you toss it into somebody else's bin, sit a little high, then any of the points, any of the tournament objects in the asteroid that are touching that object you threw in there will not count for anybody.
That's actually really cool.
Okay.
If we have a projectile on our robot,
is more than one projectile allowed to be thrown around then?
At the end of the round,
From each
anything
team?
that's touching that object,
As long as it's something
just
brought on the field, and that you can pick up within 1 minute after leaving. Or you can throw tournament objects, but that obviously doesn't help you by throwing them at other teams.
Right. If you throw a tournament object with another team that winds up in their asteroid, you're just giving them points.
That's nothing. It's marbles. Get a broom or a top that.
So, and your projectiles have to fit within your dimensions when you get started, too.
Right.
I'm bringing t-shirt can full of marbles.
Anyone else?
Anybody else?
We got the air cannons.
We have nothing else.
No more
I have
questions?
to ask one because no one else has yet. Vertical constraint to the play field. No.
Ooh, that's written in the rules.
Well, actually, there is a practical constraint to the play field, and that's the roof of Delplex. They would get really unhappy if you said you wanted a hole cut in it.
They would never invite us back.
That's true.
I just had to ask because Lofty jumped the gun with asking me anti-air weaponry question before anyone asked if they could fly.
Right.
You still can't fly on this one either, Ed.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe.
Hi, Lockview, hi here. I was wondering if, since you just said we're not allowed to fly, if we could modify gravity and levitate.
I tell you what.
Once again, if you can do that, we'll write your grant.
You pull that off, and I'll be first in line to shake your hand.
Can we get that on paper, please?
Absolutely.
You have my email.
Indeed.
However, there's one important amendment to make to that. On Dell property, it is explicitly disallowed to be under the influence of any substance, whether it be alcohol or otherwise.
Right. And further, it has to be on Dell property. It can't be in space.
Okay, thank you.
The rule that anything you do at Dal belongs to Dal, and
let's not go there.
ideas?
Let's not go there.
You belong to Dal.
Auburn has a question. Sure. team brings a projectile that looks like, are they allowed to bring a projectile that looks like the object?
The referees will rule on that, but I think the answer will be no.
Okay.
We brought a tennis ball and shot it.
That's a good idea.
All right. It cannot be a golf ball. It cannot be a hockey puck. It doesn't matter if it's a different color than what we're using. It cannot be one of our things. I don't think you could use a rubber ball or anything that was similar in size. Okay.
Marbles aren't the same.
No, marbles are definitely.
Anybody else?
That's a legitimate projectile. Don't give away spin. No, don't give away.
Are we allowed to fire marbles?
Not fire, deploy.
Deploy.
I see.
As long as you can pick them up.
Shot back.
No.
To do it.
Wouldn't they be toward near playfield, so no shot backs?
No shot back.
What was that, Beth?
There's no power near the playfield.
Are we allowed
No
to
power to the playfield.
Yes, I know, but they're saying shot back, and I'm saying no.
Generators?
Pick it up by hand.
That's their problem.
What about a generator?
Marbles don't fit the minimum size for safety for a projectile.
If they're not,
But you don't have to throw it.
you just have to put them on the
Lay
floor.
marbles down.
You can pour them out onto the floor.
Right.
See, now you're giving them all an idea.
Thank you.
Although now we're helping them, Peter. We should stop while we're hit.
They're helping walk you. Stop.
Anyone else?
Are we allowed to impersonate referee? One last one from Lockview. Are we allowed to impersonate any member of the staff and/or referees?
You can try.
Wait a minute. This is my perfect chance. Are you going to take over for me? Please do.
As long as we have full rights to whatever we need.
It's not going to get you too far. You're going to end up with sore feet and a headache, and you're going to hate kids by the time you're done. Stop to impersonate me if you like.
Good to know.
Anson's got a question.
Sure?
If we use another item to store the balls, and that item is set down on the painted surface, is that considered everything touching the painted surface?
No.
Pardon?
No.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. The only thing you can do, the only item you can use in that capacity is the asteroid.
Okay, thank you.
However, if you were to deploy something like a playpen with no floor, so that you had walls to constrain your items and they were still touching the floor, something like that would work.
Yeah. They have to remember that objects have to be touching the painted surface. Okay, in order to be considered to be on home base, unless they're in an asteroid. In which case, because the asteroid, which is a tournament object, is touching home base, the objects are inside are deemed to be touching it as well. Okay? Any other container that you bring doesn't have the cachet, if you will.
Actually, if we deploy something,
any other container is not a
on our
tournament
home
object.
square, that's part of a robot.
And so
And
the
we move
object
up
inside that
something
container
up,
would not be
on the
touching
account.
space, even though the container you brought was
Part
touching
of our robot was
okay?
still touching.
So Beth's point is a little different. Beth's point essentially is if you can put a wall around it, if you made a crib or like a pool, like a billiards rack, okay, to contain the balls, but they were still able to touch home base, that would mean that all the balls, all the 15 balls in a billiard rack on home base would be touching home base. They would count. Did that help?
Why are you looking at punch?
Hello? We have another question.
Sure.
Sorry. What's our time limit on Friday evening?
I think the last time we did it at Dalplex, the simple answer is they're open till about 10. Ideally, I'd love to kick you out sooner than that because I have to stay until you stay, but, 10 o'clock?
Okay, thank you.
Another question from Lockview.
Sure.
Regarding having stuff in your robot at the end of the heat, do we have to be on the square or can we be anywhere in the playing field?
You can be anywhere in the playing field.
And those points
Anywhere in the playfield.
Sorry?
And any points that are in our robot would be counted anyway.
Correct.
Okay.
At half points.
Points in the tournament objects in the robot count for half value. Remember?
Oh, okay.
So really, it's to your advantage to have stuff piled on your home base and have stuff collected that you are holding up off the playfield, because then you'll get points and a half for stuff